888 Ask Hank. Let's go to Sam in Romania, listening on the web. Hi, Sam.
Oh, hi. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Yes, my question is, how do we have to understand Jesus' words when he says that he's going to come back? Will he appear, and what does that mean that everybody will observe this? And does that mean that he will appear physically? And maybe it sounds stupid, but I will see him on the streets and I will know that he is back, or how do we have to interpret?
Sure. Well, it doesn't sound stupid, but I mean, here's what you have to understand is when Jesus appears a second time, as the scriptures tell us that Jesus will appear a second time, you will know that he has appeared, because when he appears, he will put all things to right, which is to say that the universe that now groans in travail will be liberated from its bondage to decay, as Paul points out in Romans chapter 8. When Jesus appears a second time, the problem of sin and Satan will be fully and finally resolved. When Jesus appears a second time, we who are his followers will then be in his presence, in the presence of God, the one God revealed in three persons, eternally distinct. Now, Jesus appears physically. Of that, there is no doubt. The Christian faith is not Platonic, it's physical. That is one of the reasons God uses physical objects on this earth to point to spiritual verities. The Christian faith is very, very physical. That's why in certain traditions there are bones and altars. Why? Because we believe in resurrection. Now, Christ was raised physically from the dead. He ascended physically into heaven. Now, that means he transcends time and space. And he will return again physically, and we will be resurrected physically. And how that works is those who are absent from the body, present with the Lord, will be caught up in the air with those who are living at the time that Jesus Christ has returned. In other words, we will welcome in the Master to a restored universe. And the way that this is explained by John in Revelation chapter 21 is that God himself will be with us. He'll wipe every tear from our eyes. There'll be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things will have passed away. So how do you know that Christ has appeared? The old order of things will have passed away, and all things will have become new. Not only will you, as a follower of Jesus Christ, have a resurrected body, and you'll look at that and say, whoa, something has happened. Jesus has appeared a second time because I am now resurrected according to the promise of Jesus. So you will know not only by your own physical appearance, but by the transformation of the universe. And I oftentimes try to explain this, Sam, by talking about a caterpillar that goes through what's called metamorphosis. So the caterpillar changes. It dies, as it were. It devolves into this mysterious molecular mixture, and out of that comes a new creature. And the differences are palpable. Think about the caterpillar. All it does is crawl. The butterfly flies. The caterpillar has eyes that can only distinguish between light and dark. The caterpillar has a field of vision and color acuity that exceeds that of a human being. The caterpillar eats in one way, the butterfly indulging in the nectar of life through a proboscis. So you have the same physical, the same physically, but they're different organizationally. And how that will be, I can't say. I mean, I can only use an illustration like the one I just did, but how we will be the same physically but different organizationally, again, is beyond my ability to describe. I know that it will be wonderful because the Bible describes it as glorious. But how we will look, I do not know. That we will know that Jesus has returned, we will know because we will be transformed and the universe will be transformed along with us.
I see, but an atheist said that how is that possible that everybody will be resurrected? That means millions and trillions of people coming alive?
Yeah, that's exactly what it means. And, the atheist starts with the materialist presupposition. The Christian worldview, on the other hand, starts with the presupposition of the supernatural. The universe itself is a supernatural effect that cries for an explanation. So the presuppositions are very, very different. The atheist starts with the idea that nothing creates everything, life comes from non-life, and the life that comes from non-life produces metaphysical realities. The Christian starts from a completely different vantage point. So you have to ultimately look at what corresponds to reality. And if you look at that closely, you find out that every effect has to have a cause equal to or greater than itself. And therefore, if you have an effect like the universe, there has to be a cause of that universe, an uncaused first cause, which we describe as God.